This has been a pretty crazy day. Kind of weird, to be honest with you. I'm on a piece of public property that I've hunted, well, several times over the years, but I haven't hunted it really in the last couple of years. Usually, when I'm hunting public property, the plan is to get as far away from people as I possibly can. And so I went to a spot kind of in the middle of a swamp that I've hunted before, thinking I was getting far away from people. And there was a tree stand there. So then I went and walked another piece of the property that I've hunted on years ago. And I walked the whole thing, came back around, only to realize it's not huntable property. You're not allowed to hunt it. So then I come to this piece of property and I'm walking back here. And I come to this power line, and there's some kids with a couple dogs on the backside of the power line. So I go back into the woods, and then I come back out on the other side of this swamp into the power line. And there's this guy walking down the power line. And actually that turned out to be quite an interesting conversation. I actually witnessed to the guy some. He's a veteran. Back in the 80s was serving. He's got Parkinson's. I felt terrible. He was shaking really bad. And so I talked with him for a while. So then I decided to just cut up in through the woods, and I cut up through the woods, and I get 50 yards in the woods, and there's a guy with 2 German Shepherds walking through the woods. I just can't get away from people today, but I'm just going to keep moving through here. I'm the one that's off the beaten path, but everybody else, I come across a path, and it seems like there's somebody out here walking. All this coronavirus stuff and social distancing, and people just trying to get out into the woods, I guess, and walk. But I'm just kind of out here scouting again and trying to get away from where human interaction would be for hunting. The idea is that if you go where people aren't, mature bucks will be there. And so far I haven't seemed to get where the people aren't, but that's kind of the plan and the hope still. And just kind of out here walking around before the rain hits. Boy, this is a beautiful area here. Beautiful spot. Nice open hardwoods. I have a feeling I'll be back here at some point during the deer season. I think some deer will move along these ridge tops here. I saw a pretty good rub actually back there. So something's using it at some point. But I'll just keep walking. Be nice to find a shed, to be honest with you, but that's probably not going to happen. Just gonna stop here for a minute, take a break. It's kind of a beautiful spot. But I was saying how when I hunt, I try to get away from the other hunters as much as possible. When I go out into the woods and I actually hunt, I go with all my stuff. I come out with all my stuff. I try to leave zero trace of the fact that I've even been there, because I don't want other hunters to know where I've been hunting. I guess maybe it's just me. Even right now, I see an old tree stand. It's an old one, but I can see where somebody had a tree stand at one point. For me, I just don't like that. I like to be secretive. I do everything legally, but I just don't like the other hunters knowing where I'm at. I try to go where other hunters won't go, and I just like to be alone and secretive in my hunting. And I've adapted quite a system for that, where I can climb 20 feet up into a tree and hunt and come down, and leave everything as it was, and nobody would even know that I'm there. You know, when it comes to hunting, and the hope is that, you know, as you get away from hunters, like I said, deer are less pressured and they're going to move during the daylight, especially mature bucks. But for hunting, that's a good thing. There's nothing wrong with that. For the deer, for hunters, just being as stealthily and secretive as possible is a good thing. For your battle with pornography, that's not good at all. And of course, nobody sits there, at least the majority of people, nobody's going to sit there in the wide open and just view this stuff in front of people. When somebody stumbles into looking at pornography, they're doing it in the secrecy of their own bedroom, their own home, somewhere where nobody else is around, because they don't want anybody to know. And the idea is obviously to keep it hidden, to keep it secret. And that's not good. To keep the battle a secret, to not tell anybody, is a horrible choice. And of course, the enemy's right there to convince you don't want to tell anybody, and you can get through it by yourself. I remember my own journey, just thinking, I'm going to fight this, I'm going to fight it, and I wouldn't tell anybody. And, you try so hard and you're so determined, especially after a fall, you get all this determination where I'm going to stop doing this and I don't need any help to do it. I can just do it myself, me and God. And only to stumble in the same thing over and over and over again. And eventually it's just ridiculous. And what I've learned from my own journey is that secrecy in your battle and your struggles is the worst thing that you could possibly do, because there is no way that you're going to get over this journey all by yourself. It's not going to happen. You need to have a group of accountability partners, at a minimum one, and obviously a man, where you can share that your struggles with them and you can be open with them about it. And also, they can keep you accountable, because as I shared, like in my last video, you have to have boundaries. You just have to have boundaries. And you need somebody that's encouraging you, rebuking you if necessary, but somebody that you're willing to open up to and can tell you, hey, how's the battle going? How are you doing? And when you fail, you can be honest with them and they can encourage you and motivate you and ask you the hard questions of, what are you doing? So you stumbled in this area. And again, the phone it seems like that's the most easy one nowadays, because it's just a world of evil right there and at your fingertips. And you can be all alone almost anywhere. I'm in the woods alone right now. If I didn't have protection on my phone, I could go on my phone right now, because I'm alone. Nobody would know, just me and God. But you have to have somebody where they can ask you those hard questions and, what are you doing to prevent the next time from stumbling? Have you put up safeguards on your phone, boundaries on your phone, on your computers, the places where you're going? And what I've found, just opening up about it in my own life, it's been very helpful. In fact, it's actually a motivation to walk in victory. For one, it's almost like using your shame and pride that you have, you're using that to your advantage, because who wants to be shamed and embarrassed that, I stumbled and I failed and this is what I did. And, and so you use that pride that you have in you to prevent yourself from going down that road. I have an accountability partner. He happens to be my pastor and is a very close cousin of mine. He's more like a brother, honestly. And he asks me consistently. And I know that that's coming, where he's going to ask me, how is the battle going? And the way he words it is, I'm asking you based on your request, because I have asked him to ask me, because I've seen the value in keeping things open and not a secret. And I know that's coming. And just knowing that is coming, where he's going to be asking me, usually it's once a week, that helps me to, when I am tempted to go, that's coming, and he's going to be asking me, and I'm going to have to either humble myself now and reach out and say, I'm struggling and I'm tempted, or I'm going to fail, and then I'm going to have to humble myself and confess it. And it's always better from my perspective, and I believe God's perspective too, it's always better to humble yourself on the front side and reach out for help instead of keeping it a secret. To reach out for help and say, I'm being tempted. Will you touch base with me in a half hour, an hour, tonight? Just text me and ask me how I'm doing. It's better to reach out and be open about it then on the front side, and to humble yourself. And it is humbling. No man wants to go, I'm struggling. We want to, fight it on our own. That's the way we're kind of wired. We just take the bull by the horns and fight it. But when it comes to this area and the weakness of our flesh, it's not one that you should be fighting alone, because most often than not, and you can attest to this, if you're battling in this area, you're going to stumble when you don't bring it out into the light and bring it open. So I want to encourage you, if you're struggling, even if you're not struggling, something that you're struggling with weekly, but it's something that on occasion even you may stumble into, you need to find an accountability partner, preferably a group, maybe at your church, where you can be open and honest with them. I have a group that I'm involved with. There's, I think, 10 or 12 of us. We're open and honest. We confess when we've stumbled. A lot of the guys are basically, we have a group chat on WhatsApp, and every day guys are checking in saying, day 7, day 20, day 100 something, staying strong. And man, I tell you what, just when I see that, for me personally, I'm incredibly encouraged by seeing these guys fighting as hard as they can in the days that they're having victory in succession. And one particular guy, he has a calendar where he does a red X, where every day he's been victorious. And then if, he stumbled, he just crosses it off with normal pencil. And I love the visual of looking at that calendar and just seeing all those red X's through there, throughout the month of days that he was victorious. Part of the accountability and not keeping a secret is other people are looking to you for encouragement. They want to see you fighting. And when you fight, it encourages them that they can fight. And also, there's that aspect, and then there's also the aspect of having somebody that you can open up to and say, I'm struggling, I'm fighting. And as you do that, I think you're going to find it's way more helpful, and you're going to be a whole lot more victorious walking with more people around you, encouraging you and strengthening you, than to walk by yourself. If you do that, you'll find it'll make a big difference in your journey. And so I want to encourage you, if you're struggling in the area of pornography, don't keep it a secret. Find somebody that is close to you and open up to them about it. You might find that they're actually fighting the same thing you are, and they need just as much help as you do. But if you do that, it'll make a big difference. And you'll be, I guarantee you'll be happy that you did. And what you'll find is that the journey is much easier to walk with somebody else than to walk it alone. If this content that I'm bringing you is helpful to you and you're finding it encouraging and motivating, I would ask you to like and subscribe. And by God's grace, I will continue to bring more content of things that I have learned from my own journey, and I'm still walking. So we want to be victorious together and win this journey together. So may God richly bless you, and hope to talk to you again soon. I think I found a spot where there's nobody at. It's nice and quiet, but I gotta walk my way out of here still. So here we go.